what's good guys, Easy Tech 231 here. Welcome back to the third episode of Best Android Setups. You guys wanted it, so here it is. We're taking a look at utilitarian setups that aren't necessarily going for aesthetics and the good looks and all that kind of stuff. We're looking for functionality over fit and finish with these setups. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into these setups. All right, so the first setup comes to us from Delvin. He's using Nova Launcher Prime with a grid size of 9x5. He's using the Acorn icon pack, and he's using the stock clock widget up top there. And that stock clock widget comes from the second generation Moto X, which is the device that he's using here. All right, so this is the only screenshot that I have from Delvin, but we're pretty much just looking at an unlabeled grid of icons, 4x5 grid of icons, and the dock down there has 7 icons on there. So it really looks like you have all of the applications that you use here on a daily basis right as you unlock your phone. You really don't have any other secondary home screens or anything like that. Speaking of secondary, he did state that this is kind of like his secondary setup here, and his go-to home screen is the Google Now launcher. But we're looking at his Nova Launcher Prime setup right here. It's pretty basic, but like I said, utilitarian. It's not the best looking, but it doesn't look bad at all. It actually looks pretty good. I think the wallpaper complements everything really well at the same time. And of course, the icon pack is a really great choice as well. Not really much else that I can say about this setup. Looks like you're just ready to get stuff done. You're not looking to do a whole bunch of swiping. Everything is right at your fingertips. So nice setup. I actually do like it. All right, so our next setup comes to us from Ayush. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly. We're looking at Nova Launcher Prime here with another grid size of 9x5. This seems to be a very popular grid size. Taking a look at the widgets here, we have a clock widget. That is the Apex for KWGT. The weather widget there is from Weather Underground. The calendar is month calendar widget, personal favorite of mine. The icon pack is the Candy Cons icon pack, another personal favorite of mine. And the wallpaper there is from Pixels. And lastly, the device that Ayush is using is the Samsung Galaxy Grand Neo Plus, and he put in parentheses, no comments. No comments. Okay. All right, so taking a closer look at the setup here, I gotta say, wow, that's pretty crazy. Not in a bad way. It's just the layout is something that I really haven't seen before. But other than that, I do like how everything is laid out. Again, you're just looking to get things done. You have tons and tons of folders here. You have one for tools. You have one dedicated to wallpapers, which is something that I like. If I were you, I'd probably put the My Files application in the tools folder along with the settings app. But that's just me. You have one for photo editing. You have one for browsers, which is interesting. You can apparently use more than one browser. And then you've got your regular applications scattered around here, like on the dock and within this interesting V-shaped grid here. And then on the other screen, you have month calendar widget, which again is a personal favorite of mine. And I did notice that you have the apps shortcut there, the little fingerprint icon on both screens, just in different places. So that works for you. That's cool. But yeah, everything is laid out to the way you really like it, I guess. This is not really a setup that I would use for myself, especially this font. But if it works for you, all the power to you. This is a very interesting setup, and it definitely gets the utilitarian stamp of approval. So good job on your setup. All right, so our third setup comes to us from Syed. I'm just gonna leave that alone. I apologize if I pronounced your name incorrectly. We are looking at Nova Launcher. The icon pack is the Moonshine icon pack. That's an old favorite. We're looking at a ton of widgets here. We've got the One Weather widget, Minimalistic text widget, power toggles, and Any Do. And then we have a music player down there towards the bottom, and that's Phonograph. The wallpaper came from Backdrops, and all of this is being run on the LG G3. All right, so taking a closer look at the setup here, it's not a very attractive setup, but don't worry, that is not a bad thing, and that is exactly what this episode is not about. This is utilitarian setups. It's about setups that work well. It's just to get things done, not necessarily going for looks. So yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. You've definitely got everything working out for you here. You've got a lot of widgets, and that's a great thing because you're taking advantage of Android. We're grateful to have widgets, period. So the fact that we have that, a lot of people need to use them, and you are using a lot of them. Now, one thing that really stood out to me about this setup is the battery widget at the bottom. It's kind of like a barcode. That looks cool. I do like that. And the reverse L shape you've got going on with your apps here, very, very interesting. And yeah, you've just got widgets everywhere. You got a lot of applications in the dock, and you have a lot of soft keys there at the bottom. Aside from the home button, you've got 4 additional ones, which is really, really cool. So you've got shortcuts and widgets everywhere. You've got your you've got your apps right at your fingertips. And yeah, and on this other screen, you've got widgets galore. You've got everything you need, your toggles, your date, your music, your to-dos. and you have some sort of like management thing here to kind of clear your memory, which is really cool. Keep everything nice and fresh. And you've got Shazam, so if you hear a song, boom, it's right there. So a lot of things going on here, and it really looks like it works out for you. So props for that. Thank you for sending in your setup. This is definitely the definition of a utilitarian setup, getting things done, functionality over fit and finish. And that's what I like to see when I'm looking for utilitarian setup. So great job on your setup. You're getting stuff done here. All right, so moving on to the next setup. This setup comes to us from Khaled. We're looking at Nova Launcher Prime here with a grid size of 6x6. The widgets here are from Zooper Widget Pro. No skin has been mentioned. The icons that we're looking at are from the Marshmallow icon pack, but there is a little disclaimer in this email. It says that some of the icons have been downloaded from Google. The wallpaper is from Backdrops, and all of this is being run on the Galaxy Note 5, one of my favorite devices right there. All right, so taking a closer look at this setup, the first thing that popped into my head when looking at the setup was definitely that YouTube icon. It's a little crazy there. It's like a splat. I'm assuming that's one of the ones that you got from Google, along with the Play Store icon, maybe, and the games icon there. So I'm assuming that those are some of the ones that you got from Google. Also, I really like this calendar widget on the right hand side. That's pretty cool. If I'm not mistaken, that might be built into Zooper Widget. I don't really remember. Remind me in the comments down below. And then you've got that tilted widget up on the upper left hand corner, so that's cool. You do have a 3x3 grid of icons here, and some of them are folders. They're just really cramped together and they're really big. So if you like the way that looks, cool. I'm not a huge fan of it, but again, that's just me. Don't, really, my opinion is only my opinion. I'm not saying that you need to change it or anything like that. If it were me though, I would decrease the size of those icons just a little bit. But if it works out for you, cool. With this kind of setup, I would use a much flatter wallpaper, maybe something that's 1 or 2 different colors, because you've just got a lot going on here. It just looks really busy and doesn't really look that great to me. But overall, if you like that wallpaper selection, that's cool. I'm just giving you my 2 cents. Other than that, it's pretty basic setup here. On the other side here, you have what looks to be a music widget. So that's cool. Nothing else other than that. But other than what we see here, there's not a whole lot going on here. Not a lot to say about it. But again, utilitarian setup. You don't need to go into your calendar application all that often now because you've got that widget, and you've got everything organized in folders, and you've got your wallpaper application right there. YouTube is right there. The Play Store is right there. So pretty much everything's going good for you right now. This utilitarian setup, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. All right, so the last setup for this episode comes to us from Genesis. We're looking at Nova Launcher with a grid size of 7x3. We've got the Flexo icon pack going on here. The wallpaper came from Imager, and no dock. All right, so taking a closer look at this setup, I really have to say, this is one of those setups that really prove that you can have a utilitarian setup and a pretty attractive looking setup at the same time. It doesn't look ugly, it doesn't look weird, it doesn't look super unique in that it's just something you wouldn't want to do. This is a pretty cool looking setup, and I actually like it. No app labels, no widgets, no folders, anything like that. I think the icon pack is a great choice. The wallpaper is a great choice as well. It just blends in very well with everything. You've got the same grid on both screenshots here. Of course, different applications, but everything seems to work out for you. I know I've been saying that a lot, but these are very unique setups. And yeah, there really isn't a whole lot to say about this, but again, just quick access to the applications that you need to use the most, and boom, you're good to go. Get stuff done. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I really like this setup. This is definitely probably the most favorite of mine out of all of these. Let me know which one is your favorite down below in the comments. That does it for Best Android Setups episode 3. Thank you for everybody that enters in their setups into this show. Hopefully someday you guys will be featured. I've gotten tons and tons of setups, so it's kind of hard to feature everybody's setups, but don't worry, I take a look at every submission and I choose the ones that I feel will fit best in that episode's theme. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more episodes. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.